It's like you're the king of the hill.
I mean, Cebu has a beautiful horizon, and it's a beautiful city. You know, it has everything. To see Cebu transform to the city it is, you know, today, it's a very proud feeling, you know, to see what a difference the whole city has become, and what it will be perhaps in the very near future. The self-made genius who is my father, you know, he had 10 cents in his pocket.
Right.
I would be nobody if it wasn't for my parents, clearly. You know, so after I graduated and I came to the business, you know, I joined the business, expected to be the boss and all of these things, but that was totally not what happened. But then, so my father, he put me literally rock bottom of the company. But you think that you can run this company? You think you're gonna be the boss? There's no way in hell that you're gonna be it. So in my 30s or so, that's when I started to learn, and I really made that effort, not just obviously to learn the business, but to really gain the respect of my father, you know. So prior to coming in, I had a 3-year plan. My first year was observation. And my second year plan was implementation, and then my third year plan was execution.
Datu Daya was a legendary chieftain who protected this area from pirates and marauders about 7 centuries ago. It is him that the Kandaya Resort is named after. The brainchild of Martin Yeung, President and CEO of MSY Holdings Corporation. Join me as we meet this modern-day chieftain dito lamang sa Usapang Bilyonaryo. Martin, you have quite the commanding view here.
Oh, thank you.
It's like you're the king of the hill.
Yeah, the view is beautiful. I mean, Cebu has a beautiful horizon, and it's a beautiful city. You know, it has everything.
When you look out the window, can you pinpoint? Can you see some of the developments you've made, or are they?
Yeah,
you can?
well, you can obviously, like being situated, you know, essentially in the center of Ayala. I mean, you will see buildings left and right. I'll show you a little bit later. On the mountain view on the other side, you will see many buildings, you know, being developed. When you look up a different direction, you see the sea, you see Mactan. So I do get a relatively beautiful view of the entire Cebu to see how things are, you know, changing.
That's right. Yeah.
A billboard.
Yeah.
From the top of the building.
Yeah, you can see how Cebu is being transformed before your eyes.
To see Cebu transform to the city it is, you know, today, it's a very proud feeling, you know, to see what a difference the whole city has become, and what it will be perhaps in the very near future.
And you have a big role in it, being in property development.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say a big role, but I mean, every company strives to obviously do their best, you know, especially when it comes to development, providing things that the general masses can use, like housing, condos. Living space, of course, will always be the most important. The location, of course, is the key.
So what are your priorities as CEO of MSY Holdings?
My main priority would always have to perhaps start off with sustainability, ensuring that the family business will continue to last for generations to come. So it's not necessarily about being aggressive and having the most properties and the most developments, but doing it correctly.
It must be a heavy burden on your shoulders, being the only son and your father being self-made.
I would be nobody if it wasn't for my parents, clearly. My father, of course, being that business strict mentor, and my mother, of course, being that loving family, that pillar of strength in my life and in all of our lives. So the burden is there. However, I still have my parents. You know, fortunately, I'm one of those who still have them both whenever I need. You know, so even until this day, if I have any questions or concerns, or if I have even business opportunities and plans, it would never make sense for me to just go ahead and just say,
without asking them.
without consulting, the self-made genius who is my father.
Tell us the story of how he made his empire with just 10 cents, really?
Yes, so they were not a wealthy family, and then my father, he is a very smart man, of course, so he was never the very studious type of person, he a very humble
dropped
beginnings.
out of school?
Yes, well, essentially, yes. I don't know if I should be saying it, but I don't think he will mind. But yeah, he never actually finished school. And he was already straight from the get-go trying to find ways to improve, create wealth, And Hong Kong, as a typical Chinese Hong Kong man, it's really all about business.
Were diamonds his first business?
No, it was actually pearls. Well, actually, even prior to pearls, he used to work for his best friend, actually. And just as like a paper boy, delivering papers around and all of these things. His best friend, who actually was relatively wealthy at the time, gave him an opportunity.
I guess he was very observant. He must have been...
Yes, but more so motivated in the sense that he knew he had the capabilities to do it.
So was it in sales? Where did he begin?
And when he got into sales, he would literally, go all out, go to every single customer, even if the customer blows him off. The next day he's just going to be there, and the day after, and he'll make sure. And he is very determined.
Did he become wealthier than his best friend?
Well, they became partners.
Oh wow! He was taken as a partner.
He bought his way in.
Wow!
So it's actually quite impressive, I'll tell you, even until today. So what happened was, again, making his way, getting the clients, and again, the truth is the clients that he tried to get into, they felt bad for him. This guy is still out there, at this time, and let's just bring him in and see what he has to offer. And he's a very charismatic, and he's a very nice person, a great person to talk to.
I suppose he saved every cent that he...
Oh, sure, yeah, definitely. Saving his money and being careful with it, and the way I see it, he's kind of like a computer, in a sense. His calculations is flawless. Then there was an opportunity to go from pearls into diamonds.
This was selling raw diamonds.
It's all wholesale, only raw diamonds. Okay, so essentially, once they moved into the diamond business, so he would have to buy. So what he would do every single month, he would have to travel all around the world. You're going to have to go through bags, literally parcels of diamonds that range from small to big.
And then, of course, you have to be schooled in how to choose.
Yeah, so of course
So how did he learn that?
Self-taught. There was a golden era in terms of probably around like the 80s, early 80s towards the 90s. And that's when diamonds really just shot up the roof, and it was a really huge business, great business. And yeah, he made a lot of money.
His timing was also very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be honest, to be successful, it's not just obviously the determination and the knowledge and the motivation and whatnot. There's always gonna have a huge part, and that is luck. Sometimes to be at the right place at the right time, to meet that right person at that moment that was able to give you that opportunity that most might not be able to have. Sometimes you might have that little bit of luck, that just happens,
right.
and again, you meet that right person, or you have this business opportunity that just came out of nowhere, and then the rest is history.
It's a wonderful, wonderful life. No need to laugh and cry. It's a wonderful, wonderful life.
Business in 2002, I was, I guess a little bit arrogant, to be honest. Expected to be the boss and all of these things. But that was totally not what happened.
Where do you get your motivation? Because, you know, of course, your father was already wealthy when you were born.
I obviously grew up with
Privilege.
with privilege, you know, with a silver spoon in my mouth, to be honest. And it definitely took a while for me to really understand all of the lessons that my father was trying to teach, you know, at that time, and my mother as well. So I studied in England for a couple of years, and then I was in the U.S. for a couple of years. Graduated in 2002, and you know, I to be honest, I came back thinking I knew everything. You know, I went for a business BA class and everything. You know, but then it takes time to really formally and truly understand the lesson that is how to be humble, I guess, to know that, you know, you are actually a nobody, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, your family background or something like this. And, you know, there was a time where I had a relatively bad relationship with my father. I guess a little bit arrogant, to be honest. Back then I expected everything. You know, just that, okay, you know, we have this and this. Taking things for granted, I think, is the best way to put it. Expected to be the boss. He told me, and I still remember this until today, he told me that, I'm your father. I will always take care of you, all right? But you think that you can run this company? You think you're gonna be the boss? There's no way in hell that you're gonna be it.
So when did the realization come?
Time, maturity, the embarrassment of literally being a paper boy in a company and slowly then becoming an assorter. So those are relatively the lowest departments. So I had to go through the stone by stone and assort it and all of these things. I'm not talking about a small span of time. You know, this is at least 10 years in the making, you know, to slowly build my way up. Then I made my way to manager of the company. And then slowly kept going up and up to director of the diamond companies. A lot of people may think that every family, the children must be the ones to take over.
Right.
They will be the ones to be handed over the reins of the business. But my father, it's not his way. He would never, in any given moment, hand it over to any child who is not capable of handling it. It's too big of a responsibility and too big of a risk.
Right.
It makes more sense for him to hire, you know, professional CEO to handle everything. So even working hard and learning the business, learning the ropes, my dad still would never ever hand me the reins unless I'm really capable of doing it. Kandaya, of course, was my first real pet project, which took time to really develop and to become successful. So again, Kandaya, it did take some time, but it's doing very well now. You know, I wouldn't say, of course, it's like the Shangri-La status, you know, where they're 90%, you know, throughout, you know, but we're getting there slowly, especially over the years. We're building up, you know, now 60, close to 70% all year round.
This is solely for the guests of Kandaya. It's usually a private. Malapascua actually has crystal clear blue water and very, very white sand.
Halina't tikman natin ang Buhay Bilyonaryo. Private beach, freshly grilled seafood, chilled wine. Ano pa ba ang hahanapin ninyo? Are you planning more forays in hospitality?
Sure. Everything, in every business that we're doing, even also the construction. We're launching now our 128 residence. It's a joint venture with the Luliers and Santa Lucia. It's a condotel, and then there will be a third building, which is a hotel, full hotel. It's now up to me now, so it's one of those things where I was given the opportunity to at least prove myself.
Yeah.
Actually, I never intended to come. Obviously, things were good.
Really?
But yeah, things change obviously in life. As my dad got a little bit older, and he asked me to come to Cebu. My father and my mom, they never forced me. That's like I said. They said, yeah, you can be in the company, but remain there forever. But it was really more of my drive. I told my parents, there's going to be changes if and when I come. Big changes, how it was run. Because I saw how the company was run and the staffing and all of these things. And I knew there had to be massive
You had
changes.
your ideas
Yeah, everything.
on restructuring the company.
Fully restructuring it, everything.
That was you.
Yes. Of course, with the knowledge, again, that I've learned from my father. I had a 3-year plan. My first year was observation. And my second year plan was implementation, and then my third year plan was execution. But again, when I say delegation, absolutely, but delegate to the right people only, which means to get the right people to handle the right job. However, you still must be on top, fully, in full control, to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, you're getting it done the way you want it to be done. So that way, if there is a failure, I'm not going to waste my time blaming the staff. It's my fault because I set up that team.
But you're a guy who looks like you also know how to have a good time.
My concept of having a good time in the past was very different to how it is now.
Okay, so what is
no
it?
little things, spending time with my family makes me happy. My son, I love the outdoor sports like riding. I love the sea. The sea is one of the most therapeutic things for me. I see myself a lot in my son. And I know for a fact I'm going to go through what my father went through. Maybe that's the punishment I'm going to get. I know for a fact that we are going to be butting heads strongly.
Daya.
No, I mean it's
He was
it's
the
the little things.
inspiration, no?
Yes,
For
he
the
was
whole-
inspiration of Kandaya. And I think for Daanbantayan, especially for the north, the 4th district, it's the time now for business, commerce to really start to push up more further north. South is really quite developed.
Right.
And you have a big land bank there.
Oh, we have tons of land. Yeah, we have lots of land there. I mean, it's there for future development, more of a business type district. Things are still, in the process of making it happen. But most importantly is to open a airport for the north. So that is in talks now as we speak. Hopefully things pass through the correct channels. Obviously with things in Manila, the government processes and stuff like that. And once that is done, fingers crossed, and the airport does open in the north,
That will really
it will open everything up. Yeah.
hasten the development.
Oh, absolutely. Just like Malapascua, as you can see, so you just were there recently. It's still essentially Boracay, maybe 10, 20 years ago. Cebu is ever changing.
So you welcome all these, there's so many developers, even some from Luzon coming here.
Well, competition is always going
Keeps
to
you
be
on your
there.
toes, of course.
You have to, yeah. So it gives you the opportunity to reassess. So even for our developments, which we have a lot of future developments, in terms of even further condos in Mactan, which we'll be doing, housing projects, which we always do, which is the bread and butter of the company. But it gives you time to reassess on what is the plan, what actually works. I welcome all of these developments and everything in every aspect of business, because we do everything. We have restaurants and we do all of these things, resorts and condos and houses. Big and Pump also was a process to build, despite even having a celebrity chef as our partner, Jason Atherton, who has restaurants all over the world. What's interesting is Cebu was not really a restaurant culture in a sense where that people are willing to go out and spend for a high-end meal. But now it's changed. Pig and Pump is full practically every day.
I can sense your excitement. It's exciting you.
It's really exciting because I see a lot of opportunity. When Cebu starts to grow and everything starts to grow with it, there's opportunity everywhere. When pandemic hit, everything was literally on a standstill, but the whole world. And it's so good to see that, Cebu is having that rebound effect, probably, on steroids. It's really booming.
Are you viewed here as Cebuano or as a Hong Kong?
I'm literally 50-50. I'm half, honky, I call myself that, and then half Cebuano. Because I understand and I am actually part of both cultures.
So MSY is not Martin, it's
my mom. It's my mom. My mom, who has been, the super philanthropist here in Cebu. It's her passion to help, and until today. In fact, we're also part of Operation Smile, if you've heard of them, whom are actually going to be opening their headquarters here in Cebu. So they're going to have a official Operation Smile headquarters, which will be at CCMC, which is a hospital, and it's essentially the entire floor. And it's going to be, of course, nonprofit, operating on children from the entire Philippines with cleft palate, with all of the high-tech equipments from the U.S. By the way, cheers! I'm so happy to have you here at my house.
One last question.
Sure.
You struggled with the responsibility that you had when you were
20s, yeah.
How do you, motivate your son? I'm sure he has, again, all the comfort in life.
That's actually a very good question. I see myself a lot in my son. I mean, he's almost exactly kind of like me in the personality. Naughty, especially when he's young, but very smart in a sense. I know that he's got it. And I know for a fact I'm going to go through what my father went through. Maybe that's the punishment I'm going to get. I know for a fact that we are going to be butting heads strongly. However, I do hope that, of course, being my son, he has my blood, and of course, with the past lessons that I've learned, I'm able to guide him, that we don't have to go through that way. I hope. Fingers crossed.
This is Villa Mariquita, eksena ng mga makasaysayang parties dito sa Cebu. But for Martin and his sisters, this was simply home. A place to return to from their studies abroad. Martin is a combination of the business savvy of his father Carlos and the graciousness of his mother Mariquita. Under his stewardship, the legacy of his parents is in good hands. Ako po si Ces Orenia Drilon. Maraming salamat sa inyong panonood sa Usapang Bilyonaryo. Hanggang sa susunod nating pagkikita. Watch the full-length producer's cut on Bilyonaryo Digital on YouTube and on Bilyonaryo's Facebook page.